Hey everybody, it's your pal Mike Zombie, and this week we're going to talk about The Return of the Living Dead Part 2 from 1988. Now, if you've heard my earlier review of Return of the Living Dead Part 1, you know I really love that movie. In fact, it's the zombie movie that got me into zombie movies in the first place, so when I was 15 and saw the commercials for this, the trailer, I was so incredibly excited. To be honest with you, I did go see it. I snuck in, and I think it was R, as I believe, but I did get in without an adult, and I knew in the first 15-20 minutes that I did not like this film. But I'll tell you why. The movie starts off kind of like other zombie movies have in the past. There's a convoy of military trucks, and it's kind of following the military line of the original movie where these trucks are driving along, and the last truck is, you can see in the back, are 3 barrels of very ridiculously loosely tied down barrels of 2,4,5 trioxin. They almost look, they're tied in with one binder, so you might as well have tied it in with a couple of shoelaces, and the truck's bouncing around in the rain as it's driving along in a convoy. And of course the driver is wearing his rain suit and his fatigues, and he's smoking a joint, and he's got his Walkman on and just paying no attention, because that's who we let drive this deadly shit, of course. And hits a bump, these barrels fall out, and oh no, you know what's going to happen. It ends up in the water, floats down a little bit, and gets stuck. So now we meet the cast. A young boy who's kind of a dork, who is being inducted into a gang/club kind of unwillingly by his 2 bully neighbors from down the street. And they just want to beat his ass and take his money and say he's in their special club. So they actually lock him in a mausoleum because that's the secret clubhouse. But this is not before they find this barrel, the stray barrel of 2,4,5 trioxin with a zombie inside. So once they've locked him in, they go back and screw with it. And of course, the kids pop it open and the gas goes everywhere. By this time, we've met Tom Matthews and James Karen, which of course would be Frank and Freddy from Return of the Living Dead Part 1. I love these guys. They're in this graveyard where the little boy is when the gas hits, and of course, just like the last movie, they get exposed to it. So they're going to become zombies just like they did in the first one. So these 2 fellows are back, as well as Alan Troutman, who plays the Tar Man in the first Return of the Living Dead. He plays Tar Man again in this one. Sadly, it's the same kick-ass walk he did in the first one, but the costume, the zombie costume, I think is really lacking in this movie. The face is big and fat and round and looks kind of weird. And whereas his Troutman, this is the last name, my apologies. His Tarman costume in the first one looked a lot like a skull. I mean, the proportions looked pretty good. This one looked almost comical. But he comes back, as well as the guy who played the Colonel at the end. I forget his name. Anyways, and for those of you who enjoyed the first one, under the credits, if you watch, it'll say special zombies or featured zombies. Brian Peck is listed. Brian Peck played Scuzz in the first Return of the Living Dead. He was the punk that got bit in the head in the casket room where blood sprayed all over out of his head like a fountain. It was pretty crazy. He came back as a zombie, apparently, for this movie. Everybody's zombies are cast that we know are running around. They run into these kids from the subdivision, the good kid anyway, and his family, and they're kind of running from the hospital to the house to the hospital to the police station trying to find help. But the military has sealed off the town. Of course, they just happen to miss these people that we've been following all along. It's just their struggle to not die. And nobody really important dies in this film, to be honest. The cast all seems to make it. What I don't like about this film, and it's why I knew right away when I saw it in the theater that I didn't like it, is, of course, yes, like the other Return of the Living Dead, the zombies talk, and they're blabbering away. What I didn't like, I don't like talking zombies, but I let it go in the first one. This one, I can't let it go, because they're just saying stupid crap. They're trying to be funny. This movie has a lot of, like the first Return of the Living Dead, had a bit of accidental humor, but it was more like, I don't know. It seemed more honest. This was a very slapstick movie. The zombies are being silly and they're falling down and, worried that they're going to get their fingers stepped on. And they're, they're driving Jeeps and swerving around and being crazy and silly and kind of campy. Oh, the zombies, and this will date this back to 1988. They all stop and sit there in wide-eyed amazement and watch a Jazzercise video. Okay, so I don't know. I don't mind slapstick. I love a good zombie movie, but this movie turned me off well into the beginning of it. So anyways, in the end, they take the zombies. They have them all run up to the power plant that's in the town, and they just shock the piss out of everything, and everything dies. Of course, not before a zombie dressed like Michael Jackson in the red jacket with the 800 zippers jumps up and does a Thriller move, because of course that's the way this movie was. One giant attempt for a Thriller move that just never came through. Now, the good points about this movie, because it wasn't all bad. The zombies in this movie look good. They really do. And if you followed the Return of the Living Dead series, I think they're up to 5 or 6 now with Necropolis and Rave to the Grave. The zombies look progressively better, as they should with, technology. But the storyline I'm finding, I think, really trailed off after the first one. This is the movie that taught me that sometimes Part 2s just suck. Godfather Part 2, I think better than Part 1. Jaws 2, scary, just like Part 1. Return of the Living Dead Part 2, boo. Anyway, so see it if you want. Hopefully, I ruined it for you, and you won't see it. But if you've seen all the rest and haven't seen this one, you may as well see this one then, just so you can say you've seen them all. Got to see them all. Anyway, that's the end of my review. I hope you liked it. Oh, and one more little poke at this movie. The first one had a great soundtrack. I'm looking at the poster on my wall right now. It says Return of the Living Dead Part 1, featuring music by T.S. Sowell, The Damned, The Cramps, 45 Grave, The Flesh Eaters, and The Tall Boys. Good stuff. Not so much this newer one. Mostly it's like 80s kind of hair metal, though, I don't know. It's got a very quiet Riot feel. A lot of these songs, though Anthrax was on here, but even Anthrax, Scotty, and you can't save this. You just can't. That's my review. Give us a call on the Little Dead comment line. Thanks for listening, guys. See ya.